Hold on, let me see. Let me see if we got a.
Mr. Chairman, we are ready. We are recording and streaming live on YouTube. You may begin when you're ready.
Good morning, TSMO members. My name's Brian Sanders. I'm the acting chairman today.
Lee is on her way. She told me she was exiting the parking lot on I-4 at Sand Lake Road. For those that don't get the joke, there were two incidents on I-4 in the south. One was at 528 that blocked 2 lanes, and then the one at Sand Lake blocked 1 lane. So she indicated maybe 10 minutes ago that she was exiting that parking lot, so she should arrive soon. Also, the bylaws indicate if the chair is not available, the vice chair is not available, that the acting chair will be the previous chair, which is Brian, which is why Brian is chairing the meeting now. So with that, Mr. Chairman.
All right, everybody bear with me. They had to dig deep to get a chairman today. So this meeting is in person. It is important for all TSMO members to attend our meetings in person. So all committee members are asked to be present at the MetroPlan boardroom for us to have a quorum. We have a quorum, so it's great. Members of the public will still be able to participate virtually, and we encourage them to do so. We now have a vice chair.
We now have a vice chair. Our chair is not available, Madam Vice Chairman. So if you would like to step into that leadership role. But rest assured, our chair is on the way.
Oh,
okay.
We may do this again.
Yeah, this may happen one more time, and I would imagine the record would reflect this transition. So we are just starting, Madam Vice Chair.
I was here.
All right, good morning. All right, members of the public will be able to participate virtually, and we encourage them to do so. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
We do encourage them.
All right. There are 2 public comment points in the meeting. Members of the public attending in person who want to speak need to fill out a comment card and give it to Rachel. Those attending on Zoom who want to speak can use the raise hand feature on the Zoom screen. We also accept comments by email and phone message before the meeting. At this time, I'd like to recognize Mr. Eric Hill, MetroPlan Orlando staff, for an agenda review.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. Good morning, everyone. Good to see you this morning. I trust everyone had a wonderful Thanksgiving holiday and it was safe as well. A couple items. MetroPlan Orlando, committee membership confirmation letters. Everyone should be on the lookout for a letter from MetroPlan Orlando confirming your presence as a representative on this committee. That will go out at the beginning of the year. So look forward to that. Our traffic signal retiming program. I gave the presentation on the before and after study last month at our last meeting. And this subject's getting a lot of attention. At our past board meeting, when Taylor gave the update on the Metropolitan Transportation Plan, we had at least 3 or 4 comments or questions about traffic signals and how we are using them, what emerging technology we're using to improve the traffic signal performance. Also, I gave the presentation to our CAC and our Municipal Advisory Committee. And again, they are interested in emerging technologies that we're using. And I mentioned that we completed a TSMO master plan, excuse me, a couple years ago, and all of that was recommended is going into the MTP. Also, there is an interest in looking at how we can use technology, but mostly the signals to improve access for vulnerable road users. These are pedestrian bicyclists. I had an extended exchange with one of the community advisory committee members on making the intersection safer for cyclists. So those are two areas where they are looking for us to do more with our traffic signal retiming program. And at the municipal advisory committee, when I talked about the fact that the benefit cost ratio is negative, one of the questions I had was how much of this is impacted by freight movement, freight vehicles that are causing more delays at intersections that the traffic signals can't account for. And then test versus control. So we have traffic signals or roadways that we are retiming. And what results do we get? Is that being measured against a control group? So how we do that is, again, that's up for some discussion. So just want you to know that we are getting a lot of attention in the area of traffic signal retiming. Sure, this is one of the things or programs that pretty much has been viewed as successful. However, I believe there's an opportunity for us to improve it again. And a lot of that will reflect how we integrate more emerging technologies and strategies and methodologies in how we select intersections, roadways, but then how we look at evaluating those roadways. Office closes. So our offices will be closed on December 25th in observation of Christmas, January 1st in observation of New Year's, and then January 19th in observation of Dr. Martin Luther King holiday. Madam Chair, I am almost finished. We have a new member, Joe Lofaso with Seminole. Okay.
Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. Welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Also, we have some alternatives with us this morning. Craig Bayard for Doug Jameson, Links, not here. Brett Poole for Dalita Singh, CFX. I don't see Brett. And also Daniel Balloon for John Williams, Wintergarten. Did I pronounce that right? Balloon. Okay, thank you. Peter Crespi for Cleet Sunyar of the city of Winter Park.
Winter Springs. Good morning.
Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry. It does say Winter Springs. I apologize. And then we have some first-time alternates. Ashley Shetty. Okay. How was my pronunciation? Was that good? See, that's what I said. That's what I thought I said. Welcome. And then we have Karen Block for Luann Highwind at University of Central Florida. That's okay. And also we have our chair. We held it down for you.
Thank
We went through the past chair and then the vice chair. And we are just up to my announcements.
Your announcements.
So we are at
Agency reports.
agency report. No, I think we're at safety moment. We're at the safety moment.
Oh, okay. Safety.
So we have Mike Wilson. And as Mike gets ready to present, no pressure, but when he presented at CAC, he got an applause. So no pressure.
Yeah, thanks, Eric. Good morning. Thanks, Eric, and good morning, everyone. Yeah, usually with the safety moment, we've been focusing on the safer people. What can people do to improve their own safety? But I'm going to talk about the safer roads slice of our safe system approach pie this morning, and about an interesting type of roundabout called the turbo roundabout. You're probably all familiar with some of the challenges with when you have two lanes or more with the roundabout. You have potential for lane changes within the circle, which can surprise people who are trying to enter the circle. And then potentially you also have people crossing paths when they're at the exits. Well, about 30 years ago, the Dutch developed a new type of roundabout to resolve those issues. They call it the turbo, and it doesn't have to do with the speed of the vehicles. It's more about the spiral shape of the circle. And the very first one in the US was actually installed in Jacksonville some years ago at University Boulevard and Merrill Road. And how it works is the key thing is that there are raised lane separators so that you cannot make your lane changes within the circle. So you have to make sure that you are in the correct lane when you're entering the circle for your destination. So you use the right-hand lane to turn right or go straight. You use the left-hand lane to either go straight or turn left. And here is that same circle in action. This is looking off the top of my bicycle helmet. Gives you a nice clear view, unobstructed view. You can see the pavement markings giving clear indication for drivers as to which lane they need to be in. And then as we approach, of course, drivers yield on the entry. And in this particular approach, you've got two lanes, two conflict points. So you have to yield to the two approaching lanes before you enter. So give a little bit of time for that. And in we go. And we start out on the inside lane, but then very quickly you see, because of the way it's shaped, I'm now in the outside lane. And it's typical with roundabouts. You can see that, the car ahead of me is going about bicycling speed, not terribly fast, but they can accelerate as they head out. And it's a very, very straightforward, intuitive way to get through the intersection. This particular roundabout was installed in 2021. There haven't been any serious or fatal crashes there, other than a couple of crashes that involved drivers who had medical events. And of course, that can happen anywhere. They might have been more serious crashes if it hadn't been a roundabout. There has, however, been an increase in total crashes, particularly on the south approach, with drivers probably assuming that the other driver was going to exit, when in fact they stayed in the circle. It's kind of a common problem, the most common crash for roundabouts. But none of the crashes are serious, and that's in line with our basic principle of Vision Zero, which is that we want to focus on the more serious and fatal crashes, even if that might result in an overall increase in say, property damage crashes. And that concludes my presentation. Oh, I just wanted to mention something. Someone asked at the MAC if there could be a 3-lane turbo roundabout. So I actually looked on my phone just before the meeting, and Hollister, California last year installed a 3-lane turbo roundabout. And similar to this, they had an increase in crashes, but there have been no serious or fatal injuries there. And that concludes my safety moment for this month. I'd be happy to take any questions.
Mike, thank you for the presentation. How does the crash record compare to a typical roundabout without the raised?
I did not look into that. And, roundabouts are all so unique. There's so much variation in them. I think it'd be hard to make that kind of comparison, but I think it's worth looking into. Yeah.
So is this on a state road or is this Jackson
No, they're county roads.
County roads? Okay.
You said there were no serious or fatal after it was installed. Were there serious and fatal before at this intersection? Just trying to see.
Yeah, I don't believe there were. It's not a really high volume road. What was interesting is that crashes actually went up significantly 2 years before the roundabout was put in. So part of the increase is from that. That may have been just some increase in traffic volume that related to that. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mike. There are no further questions. So the district is actually going to be putting in 3 roundabouts on northbound World Drive. We will see how that works. This is in the Magic Kingdom area. So those will be our first.
Madam Chair, if I may, there was one announcement I left out. At our TAC meeting, we will have a presentation and discussion on the 2026 call for projects guideline. So if you are able to stay for the TAC meeting, this may be something you're interested in learning more about. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay. Okay, next we have item 4, agency reports. This is an opportunity for any of our partner agencies to speak to the committee. If any of our partners wish to provide updates during this slot, please let Rachel and Eric know via email at least a week prior to the TSMO meeting. Today we have Jonathan Scarfy. Is it Scarfy or Scarf? Scarf. You say
Silence E.
Scarf.
Yeah.
You have the E silence. All right. I've looked it up. It's both ways. For our regular report out from FDOT.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Very brief updates this morning. After Mike's presentation to the CAC on the turbo roundabout, I went back and was interested in what we have going on with the state roads. Currently, we don't have a turbo planned, but during the ICE evaluations of, during project planning, they do consider it. So they do recognize, Federal Highway recognizes that it's a safe option, but nothing current. And for our project updates, you have your latest construction reports in your agenda. I just like to call out a couple of items upcoming. You have US 441 at Clarkonia-Coe Road. The purpose of this project is to reconstruct and upgrade existing traffic signals at the intersection. And it's also going to include new signal poles, new signal heads, enhanced visibility for drivers, as well as new pedestrian signals. And the extension of the eastbound right turn lane on Clarkonia-Coe Road, that'll begin in January and projected to be completed in summer of 26. In our recently completed projects, we have State Road 434 from Centaurus Boulevard to McCullough Road. This was a fairly straightforward resurfacing project, and everything that comes with that, extending the life of the roadway and improving safety along the corridor. I did have one update if you that did not make the slide deck, that Silver Star Road from State Road 438 to US 441. That was a resurfacing project that included a lot of other raised traffic separators. There was a number of items in that project. That was 448801-1. That project just received final acceptance as well. Just a few safety reminders from the safety office. December is National Impaired Drivers Prevention Month. Make sure that we're being safe. We're planning ahead, using the assets we have on hand to make it to and from where we're going. And then January will be Federal Highway Patrol Move Over Florida Month. And as we all live here, we're aware it's not just law enforcement at this point in time. It's also for disabled vehicles. Anything that is disabled on the side of the road, slow to 20 miles per hour, below the speed limit if you can't make it over to the next lane. And then your general resources. Of course, anytime in between committees, if you have any department-related questions, I'm available to go ahead and research those for you. Madam Chair, if any questions, that concludes my brief this morning.
I see no questions. Thank you, Jonathan.
Thank you.
We will now move to item 5, roll call. Rachel, you may proceed with roll call.
Thank you, Madam Chair. If members can please remember to turn on their microphone before responding, respond with here or present, and then mute your microphone. Barden?
Here.
Boswell?
Here.
Brock?
Here.
Cologne?
Here.
Lagichetti for Crandell?
Here.
Delachey?
Here.
Ide?
Present.
Elisar?
Present.
Elliott Moore? Horn?
Present.
Block for Wynne?
Here.
Bayard for Jameson?
Present.
Lofaso?
Present.
Mendenhall? Owens?
Yes, ma'am.
Price?
Here.
Pullum?
Here.
Ramdat?
Here.
Sadler?
Present.
Sanders?
Here.
Crespi for Saunier?
Present.
Senerans?
Here.
Poole for Singh? Smith?
Present.
Wetzel?
Present.
Wharton?
Here.
Malone for Williams?
Present.
Womack? Yeager?
Present.
Yeargain?
Here.
Madam Chair, that concludes the roll call. We do have a quorum.
Okay, thank you, Rachel. All right, we will now hear public comments for action items. We ask that you provide your name and address for the record, and please hold your comments to 2 minutes or less. If any members of the public wish to comment and are joining us virtually, please use the raise hand function and you will be recognized. or dial *9 on your phone keypad. We'll send you a prompt to unmute your mic. Do we have anyone joining us virtually who would like to make a comment?
We have no hands raised online.
Do we have any members of the public attending in person that wish to make a public comment?
No comments received.
Comments? Are there any written comments that were submitted before the meeting?
None.
No comments. Okay. We have 5 action items today. Our first item is approval of the October 24, 2025 TSMO minutes, which are at section 1 in your agenda packet. Are there any corrections to the minutes? Nope, see none. Is there a motion to approve?
Madam Chair, Shad Smith, I move to approve.
Okay,
Hazem, I'll start second.
okay. Is there any discussion? It has been properly moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye. Any opposed, same sign. Okay. The motion passes. Our second action item is staff's request for approval of the 2025 Metropolitan Transportation Plan. More information can be found in section 2 of your agenda packet. We will hear from Ms. Taylor Laurent of MetroPlan Orlando, who will tell us more about this item.
Okay, everyone, good morning. I'm Taylor Laurent, and today is the day we're going to be asking for you to take action upon the 2050 Metropolitan Transportation Plan. We go through that twice. Okay, so throughout this 2-year journey together, we've covered a lot of ground, going through our existing conditions, goals and objectives, drivers of change, all of the technical analyses, needs assessments that you were a part of for many months, ultimately to develop that cost feasible plan. And now we're at that last stage in the process where we're taking action upon it today. But throughout this entire process, we've also been including both your feedback and the public to make sure that this plan is representative of our entire region. As we've met all of our technical requirements for the 2050 plan, we've also met all of our public participation requirements and exceeded many of our own public engagement goals through 4 primary means of engagement. Through our in-person events, we've been able to, and online events, we've engaged with over 13,500 different individuals throughout this 2-year process, which we're very proud of. And that's either been through our 40 in-person events that have happened over the past few years throughout the region, to the 490 virtual attendees that have participated in our online webinars and events, over 860 survey responses, as well as 56,000 social media impressions across our 4 social media platforms. We've also discussed this plan at length through advisory committee meetings just like this one, as well as at our board meetings, held 11 MTP technical workshop series, which many of you were a part of, and thank you for your participation and feedback. Now, we've also hosted over 110 meetings, either interdisciplinary interviews where we brought in those subject matter experts to advise on our planning emphasis areas, or through our local agency coordination meetings where we were making sure we were incorporating your feedback throughout this process. Now, since our last meeting where we previewed the entirety of the 2050 MTP, there have been a few minor revisions to the document based on partner agency feedback that we've received. There is more additional information about this and more specifics about those changes included in your agenda packets under section 2, following that board action fact sheet on our summary of revisions document. But in short, the changes include minor typographical revisions, making sure we've dotted all the I's and crossed the T's, incorporating the final public participation metrics and that documentation now that our public review period has closed, including a little bit of additional information about the Florida Wildlife Corridor, a few edits to our maps and figures to incorporate some additional planning consistency projects, as well as incorporating the latest information from our TIP. So that does include last month's TIP amendment and one that you're going to hear about following my presentation. And then a few updates to our local and turnpike projects based on that agency coordination. Again, more information about those is included in your agenda packets under section 2. But unless there are any additional questions, we will be asking for your approval of the 2050 MTP and the congestion management process as it's been presented today. Are there any questions?
No questions. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve, Lasar.
Okay. Is
Shad
there a
Smith,
second? Okay. Is there any discussion? None? Okay, it has been properly moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign? Okay, the motion passes. Thank you, Taylor. Our next action item is staff's request for amendments to the fiscal year 2025-26 through fiscal year 2029-30 Transportation Improvement Program. More information can be found in section 3 of your agenda packet. We'll hear from Mr. Alex Trogger of Metroplan Orlando, who will tell us more about the items. Mr. Trogger, you have the floor.
Sure thing. Thanks, Madam Chair. I'm looking at Jason in the audience. You want to come up and do this one? So again, Jason's with the City of Winter Park. So you're going to have me handling tip amendments until we get that seat filled. But shameless plug, we do have a senior planner advertisement out on the street. So if you're interested or have any friends interested in joining the MPO team, spread the good word. But the action item on your agenda today are 2 amendments to the Transportation Improvement Program. The first one's a good news piece. The Osceola County received a PROTECT grant. That's a federal resilience discretionary grant. They actually received it last year. Federal Highways finally ready to get that one off the ground. So we have to incorporate that into the tip so they can execute the grant agreement and that the county can begin reimbursing on that particular grant project. So good news there. That's a planning project, not an infrastructure specific one. Second amendment to change to an existing turnpike project. This was one that entered into the Transportation Improvement Program under the governor's Moving Florida Forward initiative, the Point Siena Connector from the County Line Road all the way to I-4 in the 429 area. So a really important project, Osceola County and the Point Siena area. That project has some cost overages, as many do, in the right-of-way and construction phases. So they're adding additional state Moving Florida Forward funds, so governor's initiative monies to those projects. So new money, and as you can see, the second item is actually for the construction phase as well. Same FM number, just 2 phases under that particular one. So with that, we are requesting action in your approval today, but I'll field any questions that you may have. We also have a representative from the Turnpike and, of course, Osceola County staffs here if anyone has any question about the basin study.
No questions? Okay. Is there a motion to approve?
Shad Smith.
sorry.
Is there a second?
I second.
Okay, thanks. Okay, it has been properly moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Okay, our next item is the election of officers for 2026. Eric will present more information on this item.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. We did have our officer selection and bylaw review committee meet on November the 17th, and it was chaired by Hazem Alazar. So, Madam Chair, if you will allow me to defer or transition over to Hazem so he can present our nominees.
Okay.
Good morning, Madam Chair. TSMO Officer Selection and Bylaws Subcommittee met on November 17th, 2025 to recommend nominations for the position of TSMO Chair and Vice Chair for 2026. I was selected as Chair, as Eric mentioned, and the committee included Shad Smith from the city of Longwood, and Gary Yeager from Osceola County as well. So for 2026, we recommend Ms. Christina Colon from Osceola County to serve as chair.
Okay. Do we have a second? Oh. Are there any other nominations?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
No. Do I have a motion to approve the nomination?
I'll move to make Christina Colon the chair for next year.
Okay.
Second, Ramon Sands.
Okay. Is there any discussion? It has been properly moved and seconded. All those in favor of the nomination of Ms. Cologne as chair, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, same sign.
Okay, and for 2026, we recommend Mr. Lenny Barton from City of Altamont Springs to serve as vice chair. And he accepted the nomination.
Okay, sorry, I didn't catch that. Oh, Lenny, put on.
Pardon?
Lenny, put on.
Oh, Lenny, okay.
Lenny.
Lenny. Okay. Just moving from one to the next. Okay. Okay, all those in favor? Okay, is there any discussion?
Any other nominations?
Hmm?
Any other nominations?
Oh, okay. Are there any nominations? Any other nominations from the floor? Okay. Do okay, so.
I make a motion.
Do you make a
to
motion?
Accept Lenny Barton as the vice chair.
Okay,
Chad Smith, second.
all right. Is there any discussion? Okay. Do I have, okay, so I have the motion. So we have nominated Lenny Barton as our vice chair. It has been properly moved and seconded. All those in favor of the nomination of Mr. Barton as our vice chair, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Same sign. Okay, the motion passes. Our next item is the adoption of the updated TSMO bylaws as requested by the Officer Selection and Bylaws Review Committee. A copy of the bylaws with noted changes is included in section 4. Eric will present more information on this item.
Again, thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Again, I'm going to hand it over to Housing, who also chaired this portion.
Okay. Thank you again, Madam Chair. The subcommittee also reviewed and updated the TSMO bylaws to reflect the name change of the Reedy Creek Improvement District to Central Florida Tourism Oversight District. A copy of the bylaws with noted changes is included in section 4 of the agenda.
Okay. Are there any questions? No,
And that was the only change.
that was the only change.
Okay.
Yeah. Actually, a couple of them, yeah. Those are the only changes. Is there a motion to approve?
Chad Smith, I move to approve the changes.
Is there a second?
I second.
Okay. Is there any discussion? It has been properly moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Okay. The motion passes. Before moving on with the agenda, let me take a moment to thank the subcommittee for their work in recommending new leadership to the committee and updating the committee bylaws. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay. We have 2 presentations and we'll hold questions until each presentation ends. Our first presentation this morning is on the Osceola County traffic signal retiming evaluations by Mr. Carlos Bonilla from Osceola County. Mr. Bonilla, you have the floor.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. I'm going to talk about the INRIX signal analytics data that we use at the county and how we compare that with our signal retiming. So with this presentation, we kind of took the retiming projects we did on Osceola Parkway, and we kind of used that as a basis and then used the INRIX data to compare the two as we move forward. And I'll go over some more details on, what we use for the INRIX data and how the emails help us make improvements to the intersections. So INRIX is a signal analytics data, uses probe vehicle data, which then provides some of the travel times that we see on the INRIX database. And then it also then looks at the intersections and bases and grades those intersections on, if we need to make improvements to those intersections and if there's an issue at intersections, it alerts us that there may be an issue that we have to kind of dig into a little deeper to see what the problem is. Currently, we have 200 signals covered. The 15 that are included in that 215 down there are FDOT signals that are in our jurisdiction. And within that, we have 38 corridors that we kind of have established to show what our busy sections are, busy intersections. You know, you can see some of 192 in Narcousie Road and stuff like that. So we kind of keep an eye on those as frequently as possible. So what we did was in 2025, MetroPlan did a retiming project for Osceola Parkway between Dyer and Buenaventura. And we have some, the before and after results comparisons. So we took MetroPlans and then we did the same time frame with the index data to kind of compare to see how everything was working on the retiming plan. So with the retiming plan that MetroPlan provided, we got a 22% reduction in the travel time, which is very good. We based that off with the index database, and we got about a 20% plus or minus reduction time, which actually means that the timing plan worked. It actually did good. We kind of took that index data and showed that, the timing plans worked with the retiming that was done by the MetroPlan. So here we have some change movements that we provided, and it shows the week from November 6th and then a week in May 20th on the before and after. And you can see these are some of the slides, clips that we can see through on the index data, that were less delays on Osceola Parkway, which is what the retiming was. But it also, in that caveat, double-edged sword, kind of increased some of the delays on the side streets. So it's always a give and take. We're looking at retiming projects. We're looking at making sure that the main roadway is getting the most efficient timing, but it does sometimes take away from the side streets and does cause a little bit of a delay. So with INRIX data, when you sign up and you get the application, it does send on usually daily, sometimes more than once a day, an email that lets you know all your intersections that are covered. And then it gives you kind of like an overview of the control delays for vehicles. And then it also puts down the 5 worst control delay issues that we have within the 215 signal intersections that we have. So we take that information and then we look at things as, is there a problem with the intersection? Is there a PED stuck button? Is there a max recall button? So we see a delay in something, there could be an issue, or it could just be there's a heavy traffic that day, or that there was a collision that may have affected the timing that was being posted up. So we take those and we look at that. And if there's no, issues, we'll just keep an eye on things. If there is an issue, we look at it. If we figure out that there's an issue that is can be rectified, we correct it remotely, or we will send someone out on site to kind of take a better look. If, let's say a stuck PED button or something to that effect, that can cause the signal to be a little bit erratic. So this list here is kind of a list of our worst intersections. We do a check-in bi-monthly with INRIX to go over the data to make sure that what we're seeing looks good. And on the left is our worst intersections, and it goes from the highest down to the lowest. And then also on the right side, it shows the left side split failures. The right side is the locations that have a highest potential to be an equipment problem. So it keeps kind of track. So if we're noticing that there's issues with the signal controller or the video detection or some issue like that, it kind of keeps track of that and then kind of ranks it at that. So we can kind of base our maintenance work on those. So in summary, going back to what we were talking about, so INRIX provides an additional tool to the county, which utilizes for signal optimization and then corridor management. And then also INRIX provides detailed metrics to assist the county for retiming and is a tool used for MetroPlan retiming efforts annually. The current 3 that we have going now, we've actually given metric engineering access to our application so that they can actually use the INRIX data as well as they're preparing for the before analysis when they do their adjustments and then for the after analysis. So that way they have an additional tool as well to be able to use for the retiming projects. And then the emails that we receive, it's just a, daily, it's a quick investigate. If we have any issues, we can quickly see that there's a problem. And then if we have to make adjustments, we will. If we have to send someone on site, we will. And that's it. I will take questions if anybody has any questions.
Is there any questions for Mr. Vanilla? No. Okay.
I had a question, probably not for Carlos, but maybe somebody from Metroplan, Eric or Laura. I know we talked about getting INREX for the region. Is there any progress on that?
No progress yet, specifically for the traffic signal retiming. Now, beyond that, I'm not sure if we have had any discussion with INRIX beyond the traffic signal retiming. And Laura's nodding her head no. So
okay.
Sean's here if y'all want to ask him a question.
Eric, which tool was used for our before and after study?
I'm sorry?
Which tool was used for Metroplan?
So the vendor, Kittleson's, they don't use INREX. They are just collecting the data, and then they just do the calculations for the performance measures. Okay. Oh, that's the question.
Okay.
Connected car data. Connected car data.
Right, but what vendor? There are several vendors out there for connected cars.
They're using. Laura's gonna run to the podium real fast.
Yeah. TomTom data.
Yeah, there are several vendors out there that do essentially the same thing, and now we really need to do a study comparing those tools because I know DOT did the same thing for District 5, and they ended up with a different vendor. So maybe Jeremy can fill us out on what happened there.
know what you use. I just figured you'd be better at telling about it.
Thank you all for the opportunity to go ahead and fill you in. So what we had done an acquisition on was originally for a set of signal performance measures that was done at a statewide level. At that point in time, INRIX was selected as the vendor. What happened after that was that the district went ahead and was looking to clean up some of the data sets. So we were looking at not just using probe vehicle data, but also trying to look at the intersection data that we get from all of you. That comes through the automated traffic signal performance measures, and to be able to fuse that data set together to try to get the most accurate turning movement count data. For that, Flow Labs was selected as a value add to that contract. Flow Labs did offer to us to also provide their signal performance measure information associated with it. The statewide contract that was there with INRIX has run out. But we did not do a specific selection for a traffic signal performance measure set in the district that may have a different result in potentially of selecting Flow Labs. So I would think that when we look at them, do they have two competitive products? Are there others in this space? There's actually quite a few. And there are pluses and minuses associated with each one of them. But I think to your point, Hazem, I think that's what you're getting at, was that to be able to look at things and try to evaluate who's out there in that space is a fair way both to make sure we get best value as well as to give every vendor the opportunity to bid. At least I think, not to put too many words in your mouth.
Supplying certain criteria to be met.
My particular opinion is that if it's something we're looking to go forward with, it's always in the public's best interest to do a competitive acquisition, so we get the best product at the best price.
I agree with that. Thank you.
And Madam Chair, if I can just follow up on your question, comment, that is one of the things that I'd like for us as a committee, and certainly the traffic or the agencies that are maintaining their signals, to have more discussion on at the beginning of the year, to talk about how we can change or evolve this program to improve using available data and technology. And my earlier comments about the comments and questions I got from the board and from the committees is they're looking at how are we looking to take advantage of emerging technologies in this area. And so That is what I would like for us to do at the beginning of the year, and perhaps be able to do that for the next round of our retirement and evaluation. Um, and then I'll just throw this out. There's an individual from the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, who has been corresponding with me on a lot of information on what's available for improving traffic signal retirement. And I've shared a couple of his studies with various members of this committee. He has offered to come in and meet with us and share some of his information. And he threw out a date as January the 19th is he's going to be in this area. So if it's possible for us to, I know it's not a regular meeting, but for us to just have a discussion with him, as well as a fuller discussion on how this program evolves.
Madam Chair. Madam Chair, I would ask the speaker one question regarding the Interx, if they have compared or they have used like Google Earth as a way to sort of display the data that they discovered, like as a mapping tool. When you had the presentation, you showed the various intersections you had studied. So you're just curious if there's any interface between those systems.
Currently, no. We do compare. We'll look at the NRIX data, and then we'll use the Google Earth, Google Maps to compare to see if it's what's happening is happening, because it does do historical data. But we've not been we don't overlay it or anything like that. It's something that we would like to see done. Obviously, the more data we get and the more applications we get, we'll start looking at different things. So getting things melded together would be a perfect opportunity for that. But we do it separately.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Ms. Cologne? What's the question?
Yeah, I was gonna throw maybe a little bit of a softball to Carlos, but before you do that, you did have a slide up there that had, as it relates to, I'm sorry, I forgot the gentleman's name, his kind of question or comment. You did have a slide up there that had the map of the signals in the red, yellow, green dots. Is that reporting the signal locations that are in this program and their like health metric, if you will?
This map?
No, go back. Keep going, right there. So on the left are the red, yellow, green dots. Is that red, yellow, green based on the performance metric?
Yes.
Right. So I didn't know if that answered his question of is the program reporting sort of in map form?
This looks like the overall view of the whole county. And then with that, you can see where the problem areas could lie.
Right.
So yellow means that there could be a possibility of an issue, and then red is definitely there's a travel time issue where there's some stop gaps and some delays in the traffic and things of that nature. So that does update as it goes throughout the day.
Yeah, so we do have sort of that program in map form, because that's the way I process things as well.
And on the right does the same thing.
Yeah.
If the color changes, if there's an issue, it'll change from green to yellow to red. I mean, if that's what you're referring to, then that kind of does all that for us.
My second thing, my original thing I was going to throw out to you is, how does this work? In Osceola County, we have a lot of construction projects happening. So how does this work with construction projects, or, is there something that accounts for the fact that, this is in a construction zone, or, lane changes or traffic impacts?
We try to keep an eye on the construction as a whole through the traffic management center. We all know where all of our construction projects are, and we do keep an eye on that. And we work hand in hand with the project team that's doing the construction, because they're responsible really for the project as a whole, including the intersections and stuff like that. So we work really good with them. If there's an issue, we will let them know. If it's something that we can do remotely on our end, like make some timing adjustments, get with them, sit with them and say, hey, this is what we want to do. We will do that. So we kind of keep an eye on this in the project, since we're up to 7 now projects, I think, throughout the county that we're doing widening projects on. So we're very well aware of all of those projects. And we get several calls about timing and things like that. So we utilize this to look at it before and after to see if there was some kind of change. We'll go through the databases and look to see if there was any changes made by the project team, or if it's a state road, FDOT, and things of that nature. And then we can make those adjustments to that. So we kind of keep an eye on the dots and the corridors to see where they're at continuously to make sure that we are keeping up with the level of delays that we're getting and also the amount of traffic that we're getting, especially when we have an incident that happened the other day on the turnpike, which created complete chaos in Osceola County. But we were able to kind of work through that and make the adjustments that we needed to do the best we can, because obviously there's only so much we can do when a major north-south corridor is completely closed down.
Yeah. If I don't have any more questions for Carlos, but I did want to follow up on yours if no one else. I can wait though if they still have questions on this presentation.
No, Laura seemed to be chomping at the bit to get to that mic, so I didn't know.
So excited. I just wanted to note that January 19th we're closed, Eric. So for another day for that meeting.
Thank you. That's a senior moment. Okay.
So then I was going to follow up on your opening comments about signal retiming and some of the things you mentioned here, and I was just wondering if I don't know, how do we go about doing that with this group? Is there like a task force that could be formed? Can we set up a board or committee workshop that's kind of different from the regular meetings? Like, how can we really dive into this as a group and talk about it, or does it just need to be an agenda item on how do we do it?
We can do any of those items you mentioned. It is the will of the committee, and if that's your will, then that's what I will facilitate for you. So we can do it as a task force, which starts and ends, has start and end date, or we can establish a subcommittee, or we can do it informally and just as the interest is developed, just have a separate meeting. So those are the various ways we can do this.
Does anybody have ideas or thoughts on it? I really do think we should dive into this, in terms of emerging technologies for intersection, performance and AI and tools to give our folks for, being responsive to construction and incidents and things like that. So.
Well, I think we can discuss it further after we meet with the gentleman that Eric mentioned. Maybe we'll get some ideas on how to proceed further.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
I mean, I agree with the previous speaker's statement. I would say that given the breadth of this topic and the depth of this topic, perhaps it would be appropriate to move to refer to a subcommittee or a task force to help condense and maybe guide the conversation for the entire group. Given the number of very esteemed members present here, I'm sure it would be just to spare us a lengthy conversation to maybe help us winnow down the topic a little, or to understand it better. Maybe it'd be easier to create the subcommittee first and have them interview the experts directly and then sort of bring us a report on the result.
Madam Chair, may I suggest we do a workshop in January timeframe, not January the 19th. I'm back now. I'm back. But a workshop, and I will see if the gentleman from University of Nevada, Las Vegas can participate. Now, it may be virtually, which I think still works. But if that is acceptable to the committee, that's what we will put together for you. and I will try to identify not only him, but some other experts that can help us have more discussion on this. So if that, I don't believe we need to take any action. But
Yeah, Madam Chair.
Should we, how many would people, show hands of people who would be interested in participating in something like that?
raise your hand.
All
Barry.
right. Okay, Eric, I will leave that in your very capable hands to follow up with that.
Okay.
Okay.
Madam Chair, I appreciate that. I think it's good to hit the ground running, like right out the gate on the first of the year versus kind of waiting. So I like that a lot.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay. Are there any other questions for Mr. Manila? He hopes not, but okay, thank you very much. All right, our second presentation this morning is on Seminole County traffic signal performance by Mr. Charlie Wetzel, Seminole County. Mr. Wetzel, you may proceed.
All right, good morning. So this is another tool, kind of like INRIX, to evaluate signal timings. The current tool that we use, or one of the tools that we use, is called ClearGuide, made by Iteris. This is the screenshot of the ClearGuide platform here. It looks kind of like Google Maps, right? Showing you green, yellow, red are your corridors. But it, again, real-time analytics and performance measurement to monitor our different corridors. One of the neat things about this, different than Google Maps that our operators would be looking at, is it up in the top left there, you can see either a live button or a date. So you can actually go back in time. So if we got a signal complaint yesterday, hey, this particular direction was really backed up, we could go back in time and see if something was going on. Was there an incident? Was there a big backup? Was another road closed that maybe made people divert to this one road that the complaint came on? So that's a pretty neat feature. So the ClearGuide gets their data, the different sources, right? Incident data from crowdsource things, Waze, things like that. And then flow data, right? Probe data, I think they use here, and some other different data packages, sensor data, phone data. They take all these different sources, they throw it into their engine, and they feed out different distribution methods, right, to the Iteris products or to your car, things like that. So this is kind of, I asked, where exactly is the data coming from? Is it just here, or is it something else? And this was the flow diagram that I got. So with that, I'm going to jump into our platform and kind of show, how we're using this tool to monitor our various corridors. So we first subscribed to this service back in September of 24, and with that included a year of back data. So we have data back to September of 23. And using Iteris is our signal timing consultant in the county, and we did a task order for them to create. This is a Microsoft Power BI dashboard. So it's using the data from the ClearGuide platform to create this dashboard. And what we did is we put in our 26 corridors that are coordinated in the county. So we put those all into the system to map them so we can monitor them. And monthly, Iteris takes the data from the previous month, summarizes it, and populates this dashboard so we can look at previous months comparison. And usually that data is available within 7 to 10 days after the month starts, right? So we just got November's data just the other day. And I like to just step through this software. There's different tabs on the bottom. This is a systematic dynamic report. Up in here, you can select the different routes. Right now, this is showing all routes. So these metrics here on the left are an average of all the different routes. And the metrics are average travel time, which is kind of obvious, average speed. And then there's these other metrics that, travel time index. If you don't know what that is, it's comparing actual travel time to a free flow speed, like if nobody's on the road, right? That should be the posted speed limit. And the travel time index is a ratio of the actual travel time over free flow speed. So example, if you had a travel time, this one here is showing 1.28. So that's showing that the travel time is 28% higher than what it would be if there was free flow speed. So that's kind of what the number is. Planning time index is a value to make sure that you arrive to your destination in time 95% of the time. Okay, so it's calculated by dividing the 95th percentile travel time divided by the free flow speed. For example, if you had a planning time index of 2.0, that means you should plan twice the free flow speed in order to guarantee that you'll get to where you want to be 95% of the time. So, right, these numbers, both travel time index and planning time index, the higher the number, the worse the congestion is. Buffer time index down here is another variable. Basically, it's the percentage of time, extra time that you should add to, again, guarantee that you'll be at your destination with it in time 95% of the time. And in this, there's a little information icon that kind of gives you the definition of each of these. Another variable here is percentage of free flow speed. It's kind of like a level of service guide, right? It's the compares average travel speeds to theoretical free flow speed. So it's dividing the current average speed over the free flow speed, right? So it's saying that, if this was 50%, it would mean your average speed is 30 on a 60 mile an hour roadway. So these are some of the variables. And Iteris created this corridor performance score down here. And it's a combination of the three major metrics here: travel time index, planning time index, and the percentage of free flow speed. So it's saying that, a combination of these, we can get kind of just one number for how the corridor is performing. So again, right now we're on, all the routes in the county, but you could select one. My eyes are going here, but you could select a corridor. This is 46A, H.E. Thomas Parkway in Sanford, and now these are the metrics for that particular corridor. You can select. Right now, in default, it's both directions. You could select one direction or the other, and it changes the values of the metrics. You can select the day of the week. You can select your time period. Again, what's shown default would be every time during the day. But you could isolate it to, your AM peak, your PM peak, your midday. And then this dynamic screen here is you can go back and compare any time to any time. So right now it's comparing the current period, which is the month of November, to it looks like 2 months a year ago. So this tab lets you do any comparison. So you can do it just by week, by month, whereas one of the other tabs in this software is a monthly, which is just your default. It's this month versus last month. So you can quickly see, how your corridors have either gone up or gone down in performance since last month. So that's kind of a default report, whereas in the first screen, you know, the dynamic, again, you can compare any time period to any time period. So with our 26 corridors, this is, you know, a good way to monitor how they're doing over time. Are they getting worse, better? You could look at, you know, how it performed after a retiming project. As we mentioned, there's been a lot of discussion recently about how we do our before and after studies. So this is another tool where we can help determine how we feel the retiming project played out. So one of the neat things here is this is the third tab. This is the corridor prioritization. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. So we have all of our 26 corridors, and they're ranked based on that corridor performance score that was created. So essentially, this is a quick look to show which intersection is operating the worst to which is operating the best. So the lower the number, the worse it's performing. Right. So right now, it's showing our worst area is County Road 427 near 417. This has been a major problem for years, and all the traffic coming off 417 seeking an alternate route to get into Volusia County. You know, the Central Florida Expressways trying to build that additional airport connector road, which will hopefully resolve some issues in this area. But this is one of our common problems. But you can scroll down to see some of the best operating corridors. So again, this is our goal in the county is to start using this tool to see how the corridor is operating and determine when best to retime it, not on the common thing that we used to do, right? It's been 3 years, let's retime it again. Now let's look which corridor has really been performing poorly. Let's retime that next year. Even though we may have done it a year ago or 2 years ago, maybe there was new development, you know, it's time to retime it. So this is a great tool for that. Another tab in here is a trend report. So this can give us, again, it maps out all the different metrics that we showed before: travel time, speed, TTI, PTI. But it also, down in here, we created an area to just pop up in here like the 5 worst performing corridors. Okay, so again, in free flow speed, for example, this 427 area, 61% of free flow, right? So obviously you'd want to be 100 is the best. So 61% is not too well. Again, some of these other metrics you can see, you know, planning time index of 2.0. Again, it's basically twice the time that it would take in free flow for you to get to your destination. So that's kind of showing our worst corridor. Again, with the travel time, the numbers, you know, 1.7. So again, these are high values showing a poorly operating corridor. And we also had them recently add this other tab where we can just click on the 5 best. Right, so here are the 5 best corridors operating, just to give you some examples. So, you know, instead of the TTI of a 1.7, we got a 1.17, which is pretty close, right? If you had a TTI of 1, it means you're traveling the free flow speed. So these are just to give you some indications of the information you can get. Again, all these you can pick by specific corridor, direction, time of day, things like that. And the final tab in here, which is another pretty good tool, is a speeding tab. Essentially, it gives you the percentage of vehicles over the speed limit. So this first one here, Town Center Boulevard, showing 25% of the vehicles are over the speed limit. And this one kind of jumps out because it actually, it used to be a coordinated corridor due to the, downturn kind of in the Seminole Mall there. Coordination is kind of shut off, signals are running free. So that's why there's a lot of speeding going on in this area. But so that's kind of pretty dramatic versus, 426, which is a coordinated corridor. There's 20% of the vehicles there that are going over the speed limit. But this is a good tool. We're actually working with MetroPlan this year on 2 corridors, Montgomery and Altamont and Maitland Boulevard in Seminole County, to do a pilot project for controlling speed based on signal retiming. So this is a good tool here. Like here's Montgomery Road, northbound, showing 6.5% of the vehicles, speeding. But this would be a good tool where we could monitor how well that retiming project is working, obviously before and after, how the speeds turned out from that pilot project. We've also are going to use ClearGuide to do our travel time and delay study. We've done this study in the county for 30 plus years now. And just until last year, we actually paid a consultant to drive the corridors, the floating car method. We were probably the last agency in the world to do this. But now we can use probe data, right? So we can, there's a lot of effort up front to put in all the routes. We had 400 routes that we drove every year. So there's an effort to build all the routes in the software. But once you do that, then you can run any analysis you want. Hey, show me an average for the month of February or March. Those are typically the high peak volume times. So now we can use that for our travel time and delay study. And in traffic engineering, we don't use that a lot. We're more of an operational division, but we can give that to engineering, the planning people to, hey, you might want to look at widening this roadway, adding some turn lanes at this intersection, things like that. So it's a great tool that, now we can use probe data to populate that travel time and delay report. So that's all I had. If anybody had any questions. Chad.
Hey, Charlie, this is awesome since somebody who did that travel time and delay study for years. So I was thinking that when you first showed it, this is great data. So on this speed one, do you, just looking at it from there, do you go and look at your posted speed? Are you doing that on any of them? Like, oh, maybe your posted speed's just wrong, or is it really just because of how we coordinated it, like you said on the top one? I was just wondering if it's a sign that, oh, did they post it at 30 or something, and well, it shouldn't be 30.
We haven't really been very proactive with this yet. Okay. But that is a good thing to do. Hey, this really looks wonky.
Yeah.
And that's why the first one, I asked the guys, hey, why is town center so bad? But because it's not coordinated anymore, right? So it's free flow.
Right.
But 426, hey, that's a state road. I want to throw them under the bus. But
that's like good information to give the state, which Jeremy left. But
right.
That's like, why is your road this much over? That's not good.
Right. So that's a good proactive tool. Hey, look at that road. Is it posted correctly?
Right.
Do we need to do some studies, that kind of thing?
Yeah, that's good. It's good data. So can the city see
it? We have not shared it yet, but we can.
Okay, cool.
And will. Yeah. But this is a public. There's no username or password to get to this dashboard. Obviously, for the ClearGuide, there is, but this is an open dashboard taking data from ClearData. So this is, again, I didn't need anything to log into here and see all this information.
Madam Chair, Charlie, good presentation. Just have a question about whether you did a before and after study for the corridors that were timed last year to compare with the Metro Plan study.
We did not with this, but that is, we're hoping to use it this year. We're hoping to give this to Kittleson, this year where they can hopefully save Metro Plan some money in before and after that. Here's, already our retime quarters that you may be doing. It's already built, you can use this for your before and after. And I think it's a lot easier, with that first screen showing the different dates, because when Eric was asking for some comments about the before and after from last year's retiming, one of the quarters that we looked that was retimed was 434 down by UCF. And the after study was done in the May timeframe, which is, the time of all the graduations down there. So I don't know if that was taken into an account when the before and after was done. Whereas with this software, right, if you knew that certain days had graduation days, which have been, an anomaly for traffic, you could screen those out, right? So this is a good tool to easily change your before and after timeframes that you're looking at. But no, we didn't go back to do last year's, but again, we're hoping to use it for this year's before and after.
Part of an evaluation of different vendors because there are so many out there.
Right. Again, there's INREX, there's all different softwares. One little plug I'd like to do is, went to the ITE annual meeting, and state of Georgia buys the software for everybody. I mean, they spend probably millions of dollars a year, but I know we're all spending our own money to do our own data collection, our own software platforms, things like that. We have Urban SDK as well. I know some other agencies, right? We got Osceola doing INREX. It would be nice to eventually get to some model where I know MetroPlan has offered to buy software for region and has in the past, but it would be nice someday to get to a statewide business model of just buying software for all the agencies, so they didn't have to spend their own money for that.
And that's what District 5 did for all the state roads in District 5. 2,000 intersections, I believe.
Right.
So it's a step in the right direction.
Yep. So my little soapbox.
Charlie, does this take into account freight movement? That was one of the questions I got from our municipal advisory committee. How do we account for freight movement in our retiming work? Is that reflected in this, or is it just?
I don't think so. It's all probe data, so I don't know if they could differentiate between, a probe on a truck or a probe on a car. That'd be a question for them. It'd be interesting because I'm sure some of the data sources are fleet vehicles, right? From trucking companies or delivery companies, things like that. So if they could isolate it, that'd be some good information, but not that I know of right now.
Okay. Thanks.
I have one more. When you said the state of Georgia is buying that, so are they using one platform for the whole entire state versus like here, Seminole County, Osceola County, so forth? Is that how they're doing that when they're supplying that?
I don't know. I just, I was presenting and somebody from Georgia was presenting in my same session, and he mentioned that kind of they buy everything statewide, so agencies don't have to pay. No, I don't know if they put that out competitively bid, what's their best probe data software out there or not, or if they buy multiple, but I know they just kind of did everything as a state.
So maybe we can look into that too and see what they did.
You can ask Jeremy.
Jeremy's not here.
He's like, I'm not staying here anymore.
I can speak to that real quick. Hey, guys, Sean Quell, I'm with INRIX, and we do a lot of work across states. In Georgia, they use what's called the Eastern Transportation Coalition, which is a transportation data marketplace that allows state agencies and local agencies access to pre-qualified vendors, which INRIX is one of them, but there's lots of vendors that are on that. And so I know that's what Georgia's using, and I know Florida's used it in the past too.
If it can just follow up on Sean's comment, we had Cheryl Bradley a few months back from the Eastern Transportation Coalition present to us, and she made that offer. So as part of this workshop we do next month, I will ask her to participate and share what she can do for us in this regard.
Okay, are there any other questions? Thank you. Okay, we have one TAC-only presentation and three common presentations with the TAC meeting. For those who are available, we encourage you to stay for the TAC meeting to view the presentations. The common presentations are presentation and annual report for Best Foot Forward Pedestrian Safety Initiative, Metropolitan Orlando 2023 through 2024 retiming before after study, which did we have that? You presented that to us.
TSMO, yes.
To TSMO, right. And presentation and discussion on the 2026 call for projects guidelines. There are several items in the general information section of our agenda packet for your review under section 5. There's a list of upcoming meetings in your agenda, and some noticeable meetings are the Metropolitan Orlando Board meeting will meet on December 10th, 2025, and the next TSMO meeting will be on January 23rd, 2026 at our normal time of 8:30. Are there any final comments from members? No. Okay. We have our final public comment opportunity. If any members of the public wish to comment, please use the raise hand function and you will be recognized, or dial *9 on your phone keypad. We'll unmute your mic. After you are recognized, please state your name and address for the record and limit your comments to 2 minutes or less. Do we have anyone joining us virtually who would like to make a comment?
No hands raised online.
Okay. Do we have any members of the public attending in person who wish to make a public comment?
No comments received.
Are there any written comments that were submitted before the meeting?
None.
None. Okay. Well, at this time, if there's no further business, I will say thank you for the opportunity to serve as your chairperson this year. I'm glad it's over. And so we stand adjourned at 10:54. Another long meeting.